everybody, welcome back. And so, as you can see, we are looking at, well, again, playing solos, playing leads, developing your own riffs and licks. And there's a little shape that I'd like to introduce you to. I'm sure you've already seen this. It might have been called different things because it does have different names, but it's a handy little shape. And it's for those of you that are ready to kind of venture up the neck a little bit. Now, these shapes we can play elsewhere, but they're mostly meant for this part of the guitar neck, all right? And they're really going to bring your solo or lead playing up to another level. And the beauty of this is these are really simple things that we've already looked at before. But what they are is they're just a portion. They're just one little shape within a scale. Now, a couple of things I like to make sure that you know before you watch this video is if you are up to date with what we call the RayScale, okay? It's very pentatonic-y. It's a few notes difference of a pentatonic scale, but the theory is the same in that we pick a key, we start on that note, and we weave our way through the fretboard going from octave, 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 okay? It's called the RayScale, and you'll find it in, I believe, the Fretboard Theory series on the channel. The other thing is there's a video, I believe it's Learning Scales or Learning my Major Scale. And what I do when I learn a scale is I look for little patterns. I don't necessarily memorize the notes, you know, da, 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 or even the whole pattern. I look for little shapes, little squares, little boxes of notes within the scale. And I tend to play those, okay, the ones that suit the piece that I'm playing to or the song that I'm playing to. And that's what we're going to look at here because that's what this is. So this little shape looks like this, okay? You saw me playing it in the intro, and it's got a few names. The pentatonic house, okay, because it kind of looks like a house. Two notes, and one here at the tip, one string higher. So it looks like a little house, right? And we can move that. Here it's lodged on the E string, the double dots. So here we can move that here, right? And we can move it wherever we need it. And now let me show you the correlation, like what the relationship is to what we're playing. Like what are we playing here, okay? Because really we're playing, if we look at the notes, we're playing a D, an E, an A, and a B. And then we got this little thing here, which would be an F sharp. And then if we move it over here, we're playing a C and a D, a G and an A, all very popular combinations. And this little TP would be your E, right? So let's see where that comes from first of all, so we know what we're playing. So if we take our A note, okay, and we play an A minor scale, A minor pentatonic would be 4 frets, and then that whole 5-7, 5-7, 5-8, 5-8, okay? The RayScale is a little different, but it's the same idea. We're going to start on A, and we're only going to go 2. A to B, we're going to create a box right there. We're going to go down again, and there's our octave A on our ring finger. Slide across and do the same thing. Play that little box of notes, and we're going to cross over the border, and we're going to end up here on our pinky. Okay, now what note is that? That's an A. So we've gone from this A to this A. That's the RayScale, all right? And that's what we're basing this off. So now the A matches up as this note right here on my house, okay? So there's my A right there. A, B, D, E, okay? So if you're wondering, if you're just playing this little box and you're starting on this note, you're playing the tail end, the highest end of the A scale, the A pentatonic or the A RayScale, however you want to look at it, okay? Now, if we take that shape and we just move it 2 frets, because remember, everything is 2 frets, one whole step. That takes us from an A to a B or a B to an A or an A to a G or a G to an A, depending on which way we're going. So now we moved it 2 frets, and we have the same house, the same notes, but they're going to be different this time. Same structure of notes, I mean, but the notes will be different. So let's find out where those notes come from. So we started here last time on the A. So let's go 2 frets this way, right? Because that's how we move the house. Now we have a G. So we're going to go G to the octave G, slide over, repeat, slide over, and there's our G right here. Right? So that coincides with this part of the house, right? So now we can play G, A, what's always under a G? C, D, G, A, C, D, G, A, C, D, G, A, C, D. Now, remember, in the RayScale, we don't cross the border straight up. So we don't go from the silver strings to the bronze strings, okay? Like this. So we wouldn't go like this. We would go like this. Over 1. We'd have to make that pivot. Either way, okay? We'd go either way. And that either way right there is the point of the roof. Okay? So in this case, we're right on the E dot, the E note. So we would have C, D, G, A, E. Okay? And again, if we want to move that 2 more frets, we go to the F, we start there, go to the F. So there's our F, right? And that would line up right here. And we have the same structure, but of course the notes are different. So F, G, right? Okay. B flat, C. But it's the same shape. And that would be the tail end of the F RayScale or pentatonic. G, A. And of course, if we went this way, the same thing would happen. So if we start at B, we end right here. So we would start, there's our B house. Okay, so now that gives us and as we move up to this string, the G string, it's kind of like, think of it like a rack, a hanging rack. So you put your coat hangers on this rack. So this G string that runs along, we hang our, that's the point of the box. That's the point of the box. Right here. So that runs along the G string, and then everything runs off of that. Okay? So what does that give us at the end of the day? Like what do we get out of this? Well, we get some really cool noodling around. Now, I'm using a backing track by Jam Tracks Galaxy. It's on YouTube, and it's G, A minor, C, G. Okay? So let's play it a little bit, and let's see what we can, just using this shape along here. Okay? Now all the notes are there, right? So what did I say? G, A, C, G. So we have our G and our A. We have our C right here. Now I'm going along the rack, right? Along the G. I'm going to see how many I can connect. Maybe not here. This one's good. Okay? So the BB box, or the pentatonic house, remember, is the tail end, the highest end, without stretching it. And you know what I mean by stretching it is when you take that extra 2 frets after you think you've finished running a scale. So if we were doing the A, for example, we work our way down to the A, and a lot of times, in fact almost always, we can take that B and it'll sound just fine. And then we try to kind of, can we take that too? And a lot of times we can, and sometimes we can't. So your ear will tell you, oh, no, that didn't sound too good. So you won't go there again. But it's the tail end of the pentatonic, and that's all it is. So instead of doing this, or any path we want to take, instead of doing that, right, we're just playing the end, right? So we're just going. We could play any of those notes for the most part. Sometimes we got to play them in different orders. You figure that out. That's where your ear and your brain come in as part of your guitar foundation. Your fingers are doing their thing, both hands are working, but it's your brain and your ear that says, we're not going there anymore. That's a little bit off. Or we got to land on this note, not that note. It'll sound better. That's practice. I mean, that's just the way it is. And as you know, I'm not one for saying, look, memorize this and go do every time. That's, to me, that's why I didn't succeed learning the guitar by myself the first time, because I did too much of that and not enough, hey, let's just play. Let's just figure it out. Oh, yeah, this sounds good, yeah. I didn't even know what I was playing, but if it sounded good to my ear, whatever, okay? Remember, there's always time to go back and figure out what you've been doing for the last month. In fact, I find that so much easier, as I've said here many times before, is to just learn something. So in this case, I'm learning a simple shape. That's it. That's all I'm learning. So I find it much easier to say, okay, give me the shape. Let me see what I can do with it. Let's see if I can make it musical. Then go back and say, okay, what was I playing here? Oh, yeah, okay, so that's, oh, I get it. That's the C, right? Okay, so that's the D and that's the E. So, oh, okay, that's the G. So if I start here, I'll end up, that's the G that I always end up on when I do the RayScale. Okay, so now I got that little, it's like a little tail at the end of it, is the way I look at it. An added little bonus box at the end of the RayScale. That's kind of the way I remembered it. Then I started to realize, oh, okay, well, that's cool because that's the same note as I started on. So now I can work off of this just like I did here. Let's say it's A. I go A to B. I have that. I work off the A. Then I get to that A and I work off, meaning I continue my pursuit up the neck from the A. And then when I get to this A, means I can still continue. So here I am, and I can still go out here if I want to. Right? Off of my A, which is right here in my box. All right. So I wanted to show you that because it's really cool. And when you start watching, next time you watch B.B. King, and it's the right kind of camera, and they kind of zoom in and show him playing, you're going to see that he spends most of his time right here. Something like that. Okay? There it is. And you'll notice he plays exactly this. He goes right along this high string. This string here. And then you'll notice he He uses the railing, the G string, where everything's hanging from, the walls are hanging from. He uses that to get from one little box to the other. All right. I hope this helps. I hope you found this very informative. And look how easy it is. It's simple. So now, if you're playing a song or along with a song and you Google it and it's the key of A, then you know you can come right here and play, if nothing else, this little box. Right? If nothing else, you could sit there and just noodle on that. Maybe go over here. Now, when we're going from railing, the hanger, the G string, into the wall of the house, what we're doing is we're mimicking the same action we have to take at the end of the RayScale when we cross the border. So we don't go, again, down, we go over. So we have to pivot over, right? And when we come back, we got to move one of our fingers over, right? Whichever one we're comfortable with, depending on which direction we're going. So when you look at it, that's all it is. It's starting here when we cross the border, okay? And going over one and then playing the box, right? Look, there it is right there. There's already a melody right there. It's already a little melody right there, like they're everywhere. All right, I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you live Tuesday at 2 p.m. All right, and remember, no matter what you do, no matter how you learn, no matter from who or where you get your information, right, it's all about the practice. All right, see you later.